Okay, so here we're just trying to create equations, and we had some practice up in here, but now we're looking at this again. We've got a 2 and we're turning it into an 8, but we're doing it over the course of 3 steps, and then it becomes a 12. So we want to try and establish a trend whether we're adding or multiplying. Okay, so if we see this one here, what can we do to get to 8? Well, it's probably a good idea to add or subtract or something to start out with. And then you can kind of go from there. And in this case here, you're adding small amounts to get to 8. So, if you say you're adding 2, I guess, well, you know what? I'm going to let you do that one because that one's kind of easy. But this one here, you're decreasing. And so in this case here, I'm actually going to subtract 2 because from 2 to 4, I've decreased by 4 over the course of 2 spots. So you can almost kind of break that down. It took 2 spots to go, and it decreased by 4. So if you divide that decrease of 4 in half, you're decreasing by 2 each time. So if I decrease by 2, I'm at 0. If I decrease by 2 more, I'm at -2, and by 2 more, I'm at -4, -6, and that confirms that I'm at -8. Now that's an equation, a function if you want. We can call it y equals mx plus b because that's what it is, but I could also do t of n, which is what they've labeled this here, and use n as our variable. If you use y equals mx plus b or f of x, that's okay. But basically what we have is we're showing a growth. In this case, growth is actually decreasing by 2 each time, but we have our initial value of 2. So if our growth is -2, we've got a -2 times n, if you put x, that's okay, plus b, which is our initial value, which is a +2. So there's your equation, and you can always test that by saying if I plug in a 4 for here, 4 times -2 is -8, minus or plus 2 is a -6. And I'm going to do one more for you. And by the way, that answer right there, that's the only one of its kind. So that one right there works. And as you get further along, these are going to be easier for you to find out. Let's go back down here into the negative zone. You're starting at -2 and then to -4. If we're decreasing by 2, then this would be 6 and this would be 8, but we see that that's not the case. So we're actually multiplying in this case. -2 times 2 is -4, and then times 2 is -8, and then times 2 is -16. So the trend, if we're multiplying by 2, -32 and then -64. So in this case here, we're multiplying each time. Again, we're starting at -2 and we're multiplying by 2 each time. Turns out this is the equation that we're going to use for that. Okay, so your initial value is this -2. T of n is equal to -2, it's our starting value, times 2 to the n power. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.